tour's been pretty incredible. I think the last year, I would say the last 18 months, last year especially, since we started the open to close concept, really pushing cycles, it's been the best year of my career. And I think it's because we've managed to gain the trust of promoters to allow me to sort of play the extended set, which allows me to show a range that you can't show in a 90-minute or hour-long set. So that's been the concept behind this tour in the last 3 months, and it's been sort of a year building up to it, and it's been, for me, the best sort of 3 to 6 months of my career as far as my satisfaction that I feel when I leave a gig. And that's because I get to play everything from deep house to techno to trance to my regular stuff to what I've made to classics to everything. And so for me, like, the Cycles tour on top of Cycles Radio has been like, I couldn't ask for a better situation than I have right now. Definitely. As far as playing techno on Cycles Radio, I'm at 150 episodes now, 153. The first episode where I tried out some techno I was missing that kind of middle ground trance, because I'm not really an uplifting trance guy, and you know, a lot of acts have moved on to electro, so I was kind of missing, so I tried out some techno. It was episode 67, so I'm at 150 now. 67 was, you know, 2 years ago.
I know.
And I tried it out, and I was like, okay, I'm taking a risk, and the reaction was so strong that I sort of, you know, I felt more comfortable integrating more genres. You know, I don't like separating these by genres, but I understand that's how other people do. So integrating more genres into the show, and as the sort of the middle trance guys kind of moved away from it, I brought in the techno to sort of replace it. I've always loved techno, and the listens have gone up, downloads have gone up. So for me, it was like that risk. The first few episodes has taken off. But it was definitely, as you said, was I a bit nervous? Definitely. But it kind of like, we instantly saw the numbers and the reaction, people loved it. And I think a lot of trance fans are open to other styles. So it was cool to be able to have a more diverse show, and I just kind of went with it after seeing the reaction early on. Open to close is the way that, I mean, you talk to anyone like Dubfire, Santa Kleinenberg, Danny Howells, John Digweed, anyone that's been DJing for more than 10 years, open to close is the way we all started. It's just natural to us. We worked in bars, not nightclubs, where you had to play, you know, hip-hop, R&B, dance music, top 40. I even played some reggae, like, you know, in the 90s, that's what I was as a DJ. So for me, it was like, I could easily take that night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. and sort of do that arc. So I realized that my strength was that it's not a 90-minute set of bangers that I'm going to do the same set all around the world for 18 months. You know, it's like, there's so much music I like. I can't fit it into 90 minutes. I can't fit it into 1 hour. Whether it's deep house or like funky stuff, or you know, like labels like Swara, which is like between techno and how, like I don't even know, like there's so much music out there. And obviously the trance that I love, and harder techno, and classics and all that. So the open to close allowed me to sort of showcase what I felt was a more natural way of DJing for me, rather than trying to emulate, you know, guys that I'm friends and fans of, like WW, who are amazing at like a 1 hour, super power-packed, high-energy set. It's not the way I learned to DJ. So I respect it, but it's not, you know, I'm like a marathon runner versus a sprinter. So in doing the open to close, people sort of came out and were like, okay, we're hearing a whole different side of a DJ set. You know, Marcus has been doing it forever. But it's not really a lot of guys in the trance side doing it other than Marcus. Marcus has definitely been a pioneer in that arena. But you talk to guys like Yours Born, Adam Bayer, Dubfire. They play 8-hour sets every weekend. It's not a big deal, you know? So for me, it was just supernatural. How do I manage everything? The record label, the radio show? Well, the record label's mostly run by Armada. They do the day-to-day. My only job is to find new music and then sort of pass it off to them to sign and do all the legal, the promotion. But that kind of ties in with the radio show, because my goal with the radio show is to find new music. Now my goal as a DJ is to find new music. I am obsessed with finding music nobody's heard before. For myself, even before the listeners and all that. Like, I'm addicted to music I've never heard before. So it kind of all ties in. It's not like I have to, leave, researching music and then go make the radio show, because it's kind of the same thing. The radio show actually helps my DJ sets and keeps them fresh. Since I've had the radio show, I can't be lazy for like, oh, I'll play that, I won't buy new records this week. I have to buy new music every week. I have to harass my producer friends. I have to check all the demos, check all the promos, check all the websites. I have to keep the show fresh, if that's my goal, and that is my goal. So that kind of balances out the DJ sets, because all of a sudden I have new music on the weekend that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have the radio show. And it also allows me to find music for the label, because I'm like harassing people for new music all the time. I literally harass them. It's great. I'm like, dude, send me just a clip, and they're like, it's not done. Just give it to me. So it all kind of works together. But the day-to-day annoying stuff, Armada handles, which is like legal promotion. I make the radio show. I still mix it. I do the voiceover. Well, I record everything myself. I place everything. The only thing I have someone else doing is downloading the promos, because that's a good 4-hour job. But he gets a copy of all the promos too, so he's happy. So it all works together for the same goal, which is for me to have the newest music that I can possibly find, whether it's for my DJ sets, for the label, for the radio show. So it's actually not that difficult. Okay. Lecker has done better than we expected, and it's actually really cool because I'm not a great engineer and I'm not great at kicks and bass lines and that relationship, but I'm great at melodic riffs. So to couple up with someone who's amazing at bass lines and a great producer and engineer, Lecker kind of was the best of both worlds for me, because I got to write the melody, but I didn't have to worry about the engineering and making it sound as good as the other tracks out there. Since then, obviously, because that did well, Martin DeYoung and I are going to work on more. But also, EDU, a guy from the UK, who I've been playing a track of his called Action Hero, every gig for 2 months. It's that sort of middle range, 130 trance that a lot of guys aren't making. Kind of Orion's moved on, Tritonal's moved on, Garrett's moved on, Umet's moved on. And it's just the sound they're making now, and we're all artists. The same way fans change their taste, we change our taste. We're not wearing the same clothes we were wearing 2 years ago. We don't have the same hairstyles. We're not, some of us aren't even living in the same city. So it's totally cool that people move on, but it left me with kind of a void. So EDU is making this stuff that is the stuff I love. And he's an amazing engineer, which I'm not. So I'm let's get together and let's make the sound that I have in my mind coupled with your sound, and then you engineer it to sound as good as the top 10 out there, which he can. He's amazing. Kind of the same I did with Protoculture. So that's the plan for this year, is another track from Martin DeYoung, and definitely more with EDU. There's a single with Protoculture done that's going on his album, and definitely more to come. And I'm sort of realizing it's good to work with other people who are better engineers. I can write the melodies, and then we can meet in the middle, and it works better for everyone. love to do a cycles tour in Europe. I mean, the US has always been a very strong, country for me because of Canada, US and Canada. Europe, it's a little harder to convince for the open to close at this point, but since I've been living in Amsterdam for a year, we're definitely starting to see cities open up and be responsive to that. I mean, I would love to do, but it's really up to the fans and the listeners and music lovers. I don't really like the word fans, but like anyone who's into that open to close, to tell their promoters that that's what they want. And if they tell their promoters in Europe that they want that, the promoters will book it. At the end of the day, the promoters want to sell tickets. And if they know what the ticket buyers want, they will give that, whether it's a guy playing on pots and pans or whatever. So for me to do an open to close cycles tour in Europe, it's going to take a bit of work for people who want that there to sort of push that. But, Dan and I, my agent, we're really like trying to get people to understand that it's a great concept. There's been such success with it in the US that now a lot more people are definitely interested. So we're seeing that, Even gigs in the US that weren't originally open to close on this tour have called us back and went, we want to do the whole night, because they see the buzz on the other tour, on the other dates. And I think that's because, they want the diverse selection of music and they want to kind of change it up. So Cycles is going to continue through the summer in Europe, and hopefully Asia, Africa, the rest of the world. We're also going to do the next Cycles in August instead of in January. So we're going to, instead of, this one was a single CD, so we're going to do one every 6 months instead of a double every year. Because, the attention span is different, it's a more chance to build around something every 6 months. Have a fun compilation, so it's cool. WMC for me, I mean, I used to come 10 years ago and I had all these plans to have all these meetings and I would have a schedule laid out and it never worked out. And I realized you have to kind of relax, come down here, and it's a chance to see all of your peers, all of your co-workers, every DJ, every agent, every press person, every record label, every A&R, and just hang out and have a drink and make that connection. And I think we live in such a social media, email world. There's a very different relationship. You can send 100 emails, but the moment you sit down with someone and look into their eyes and shake their hand, it can be a 5-minute meeting, but every email after that is completely different to the emails before that. And I think, you probably experienced that, your agents over here. Like we all are all over the world, and it's great to be global and communicate like that. But WMC is our chance to come down and just have a drink together and not even talk business. Just make that human connection. But then when we go home and email, it's like you have a memory and a different sort of physical link to connect that conversation to than just, I've never met you, I don't know what you look like, you're only ever been text on my screen. So for me, that's what WMC has become. I come down here with very little plans to have meetings or interviews, except for maybe this one. But for me, it's like I just keep it open and just be social, and hang out and say hi to everybody. Then when you go home and you do business over email, it's a very different relationship. Also, it's South Beach, the food is great, the weather's great, you live here, so it's awesome.